Hello everybody, welcome back on iKeysRacing. Marco from Monza saying hello and welcome to Riverside. I know that in the last appointment of Around the World in 24 Hours, my second season, trying to bring you back to the 70s, the 60s, etc. I said see you in the second episode at Watkins Glen because we had a start at Daytona with 24 hours, but then I changed my mind and I said it's true that by mid-March we will race at Sebring, but maybe March or February in Watkins Glen will be a bit cold, let's say. So from a nonsense point of view, I decided, okay, between end of January and beginning of March we can jump between Florida, California, back to Florida. Does not make sense maybe, but in some way is the kickoff of a worldwide season that, in my opinion, in my idea, in my taste, being virtual, was anyway a sort of ping pong between the two oceans. And so with this back-to-back, Florida, Daytona end of January, California, Riverside, close to the town of Riverside, beginning of March, then mid-March, Sebring for the 12 hours, and then the Around the World in 24 hours. We leave what is the American side to come in Europe very soon. So here we are today with this beautiful track that is the Riverside International Raceway. Nowadays a shopping mall, on a beautiful venue, very dangerous, very technical, very scary in some way, where luckily between the first races of the end of the 50s, then the 60s, the 70s, up to the end of the 80s, then the racetrack has been unluckily declared with a sort of bankruptcy scenario. I do not remember with my memory all the history of this racetrack, but I do remember things sparse in some way, divided here and there, and honestly was a track venue I wanted to have on my channel since months ago, since I've started to read the history of this track. And since I've started to read a bit the history of this track, I've been absolutely caught up by its tragic history in some way. And just to talk about the Riverside International Raceway in a quick reading thanks to Wikipedia, there are, I would say, many aspects of the history of this track that really did catch me a lot. There are some tragedies, there are some bad managements, different needs, etc. But above all, I would say I can maybe give you a brief introduction, and will be, I hope, a nice journey between us to discover maybe something not always famous, known, or whatever, regarding the history of motorsport. And in this case, for the Riverside International Raceway, known also as RIR or simply Riverside Raceway, we can read that it was a racetrack and a road course both established in the Edgemont area of Riverside County in California, just east of the city limits of Riverside and 50 miles, that were 80 kilometers, east of Los Angeles, in the year 1957. Unluckily, in 1984, the raceway became part of the newly incorporated city of Moreno Valley, and that moved anyway things a bit around. It was a racetrack known, very well known, for its hot, dusty environment, and for being somewhat of a complicated and dangerous track for drivers. Despite this, was anyway considered one of the finest racetrack venue available in the US. Its operation started from September 22nd, 1957 and finished on the 2nd of July 1989 with the last race, the Budweiser 400, won by the American ace Rusty Wallace. After that race, the track was shortened and was kept open just for clubs and special events until 1989. Built in the early 1957 by a company called West Coast Automotive Testing Corporation, the head key people was Rudd Clay from Los Angeles, was a driver that previously raced in Europe. And between issues, lack of money, fund, etc. At the end, by 1957, the track was completed and started with California Sports Car Club events. The first event, held in September 57, that was a California Sports Car Club event. Luckily, the imprinting of this track maybe was already there, advising itself how dangerous it was, because John Lawrence from Pasadena, California, died in that first event. He was a former California Club member. A production car of 1.5 liters went off between turn 5 and 6, the first series of corners after the starting line. We will approach it in a couple of seconds with this BMW of 1973. And so Mr. John Lawrence was the first victim of this dangerous track. Also because there were not crash barriers in place, the car didn't have a roll bar protection system. The MGA of Mr. Lawrence went up in the sand on embankment, rolled back onto track, and despite Lawrence survived the accident, he later unluckily died at the hospital for a brain injury. But was not the only one man dying here. But with a positive note, this track in November 57, during a sports car race featuring some of the top drivers of the era like Carroll Shelby, Mustang Gregory, Ken Miles, there was also an inexperienced local youngster named Dan Gardner, who had been offered the opportunity to drive a powerful, built but ill-handling 4.9 liters Ferrari. After better-known drivers, such as Shelby and Miles, rejected to drive this ill-fated Ferrari 4.9 liters. Despite this, Carroll Shelby led early the race, but spun and fell back, so Dan Gardner assumed the lead and led for much of the event. Shelby, driving furiously to catch up, finally overtook Gardner late in the race and won the event. But Gardner's performance caught the eye of North American Ferrari importer Luigi Chinetti, who arranged for Gardner to drive a factory-supported Ferrari at Le Mans in 1958. Effectively launching the Californian's European career. But Dan Gardner, for who loves him, and I am one of those, started here at Riverside, so was a positive note, a good starting point to propose this track in this around 1970, not only around the world, season I decided to play. We can go then forward with a time machine in 1986 for the Los Angeles Times Grand Prix, in which a crazy crash, very terrific, happened while Doc Bundy in a Chevy Corvette was attempting to pass a 3-wide situation going into turn 1. hit a Ford prototype of Lynn St. James, but also the Jaguar of Chip Robinson. The car of Lynn St. James caught fire. Chip Robinson nearly cartwheeled into the crowd, but luckily St. James survived the flames and Robinson escaped uninjured within the track bounds. Was anyway known as a dangerous course, with a long downhill back straightaway and brake-destroying, relatively slow 180-degree turn 9 at the end. We will approach it at the end of this lap. And during the 65 Motor Trend 500 NASCAR race, the IndyCar giant AJ Foyt suffered a brake failure at the end of the straight, shot off the road and went end over end through the infield at high speed. The crash crew assumed Foyt was dead at the scene until fellow driver Parnelli Jones noticed a twitch of movement. Ford factory sports car driver Ken Miles was killed there in a testing accident in August 66 after the fact of that dark Le Mans 66 with a more than deserved victory for Ken Miles, unluckily destroyed by those idiots, directors of Ford back then. Ken Miles here was testing a Ford J car that became aerodynamically unstable and flew out of control at the end of the back straight. Not only, a crash in front of us, yes, a touch with the Matra. These accidents and others caused track management to reconfigure turn 9 that today we will see in the definitive version, giving the turn a sort of dogleg approach and a much wider radius. A water improvement also closed the raceway for a few months, so overall the track was still dangerous, but not like in the original version with the old straight back straight and fatal last hairpin corner, let's say more a corner than a hairpin, that caused so many deaths year by year. We go in 1983, turn 9 again, the last corner of the track. The fatality in IMSA GTP history. In 83, for the Times Grand Prix, Rolf Stommelen Jost Porsche 935 lost its rear wing at the dogleg here and hit two freeway-type barriers, sending it into a horrific roll. And going back in the past also, NASCAR team owners like Roger Penske or Rick Hendrick drove a selection of few races at Riverside with their cars, own cars. And Roger Penske won the Western West race in 1963. The history of this track also with NASCAR was not ended here, because the famous Western 500 was the signature event of the track, initially in the period 63-81, was held in January as a sort of season opener, but from 82 the NASCAR elected the first race of the season to be the Daytona 500. So from 81 to 87, the Western 500 was held in November as the final race of the season. Carroll Shelby and Skip Barber had racing school here at Riverside to teach students on how to drive around the racetrack and show them the preferred line on how to enter and exit accordingly. Skip Barber was the last racing school to be at Riverside when it was closed in 1989. In our beloved video games world, we can mention, thanks to Sierra Entertainment, the track featured in the NASCAR Legends upgrade mode for NASCAR 2003, NASCAR Heat, and later was converted to NASCAR 4, NASCAR Racing 2002 season, 2003, and luckily R-Factor, that I think has become a portable version for GTR, GTR2, and Power and Glory, and maybe Automobilista. With this version you are watching on iKeysRacing channel. Sad story, started very sad with a lot of people died since the first event, that finished sad anyway. because in 71 the property of Riverside declared bankruptcy, and in the changes for Riverside County and the newly incorporated Moreno Valley were areas that needed growth massively, and so new residents started enclosing close to the raceway and became hostile about the raceway noise level. But furthermore, the land of the raceway was on becoming more and more valuable, and so the racetrack for few years survived, despite the protest from both residents and environmentalists. On 12 of June 1988, Nascar held its final Winston Cup race, the 1988 Budweiser 400, as said, won by Rusty Wallace. And unluckily, it ended the way it started, because on that 2nd of July 89, the final service held here was unluckily marked by the death of race driver Mark Dervosky, died the day before, the 1st of July 1989. And so, with the driver who started his career here, Dan Garney, driving here a Ford Mustang Boss 302, year 1974, if I'm not wrong, we can close the chapter of presentation of this racetrack and say that just nowadays, in 92, the land was turned into a shopping mall. Boo, boo. And by 1994, the remains, with an aerial view of Riverside, the remains of the turn 9, the original backstretch, the 69 aligned backstretch from the kink to the entrance to turn 9, part of the pit entry and the front stretch walls were still visible along with the administration building. However, today nothing is left of the Riverside International Raceway except for memorabilia from the racetrack. The old administration building remained until year 2005, when it was torn down to make way for a complex of townhouses. At least luckily, numerous streets in the neighborhood for the east of the Moreno Valley Mall off Frederick Street are named at least after racers that raced at Riverside, like Yarborough Drive, Garney Place, Donoghue Court, Surtees Court, Brabham Street, Andretti Street and Pesky Street. So that's it for Riverside track presentation. We will enjoy few more corners with Dan Garney and his Ford Mustang Boss 302. The next chapter will be the presentation of the cars selection for this venue, for this appointment. We will race in the long version of the original Grand Prix road course with a 3.2 miles or 5.2 kilometers track length. And today we will race with a prototype car, given that the Daytona first appointment has been driven by myself together with you with a Ford GT. So today is the third for prototypes, and I hope you will enjoy it because it will be a great beast to drive, as you have seen maybe in the front cover of this episode. So let's go to have a look to the 26 cars available here, and then after the next chapter we will go on track. See you in a second. We start with the Tourers and Grand Tourers, then we move on to prototypes. Starting with a Group 2, year 1973, is a BMW 3.3 liters driven by Mr. Kester and Mr. Hesemann in '73, was an original BMW Motorsport official work team. After 1 year, the 6-cylinder BMW moved from 12 to 24 valves, and so the same team with a different paint scheme or livery finally had a new model, at least updated in the engine. The two great drivers at the wheel were Jackie Ickx and Derek Bell. The American Ford for this appointment will bring the Ford Capri RS 2600 from the Ford Cologne 1971 official race team, still from Power and Glory era. A more updated model 3 years later, the RS 3100, still from the official Ford of Cologne or Köln. Maybe the right pronunciation in German should be Köln. At the wheel, Jochen Mass and Rolf Stommelen. Beautiful car, very powerful. We will see this model quite often in the top positions. Still in US, still with Ford, we will have two models. The Mustang Boss 302 of the Stark iKeysRacing, year is 1970, beautiful livery, with at the wheel Mr. Warren Tope. Still Group 2, but over 2 liters, like it was in 70 for this model just seen. We go back to 1969, Shelby Racing, the official Carroll Shelby race team, still with the Ford Mustang Boss 302. We are at Riverside, couldn't miss the presence. Maybe together with Mario Andretti and AJ Foyt, one of the most famous and successful American driver. He is Dan Garney, that exactly at Riverside had his debut against the big names, so was also the perfect stage for Dan Garney to debut, and today I didn't want to lose the presence of the great American racer, and with an American car specifically prepared by Carroll Shelby. I think it's the best absolutely match. It will be just a 1 hour race, but Dan Garney, Carroll Shelby and Ford muscle car couldn't miss this appointment. We go then in Argentina with the Tommaso Pantera of the Curie Franco-Britannic Equipe. Beautiful car with a Ford V8 engine in the back, a 5.7 liters V8. Drivers will be Guy Chasseux and Jean Vinatier. The car was absolutely deserving to be here today, and was also the car starting the Group 4 class. Will battle with another American icon, not because of the Porsche 911 Carrera RSR 2.8 liters, but for the Brumos Porsche, that specifically in the 70s, thanks to the great talent of Peter Gregg, did win quite a remarkable amount of wins, classic races and historic titles. And yes, this model to me couldn't miss the appointment of today. Last Group 4 over 2 liters, the 1969 John Wyer Automotive Engineering, preparing a Ford GT40. Again, I couldn't keep out from the selection Jackie Ickx and Jackie Oliver, original winners of Le Mans of that year with this model. Such a beautiful car. We did drive the number 7, winning at Daytona at the end of January. Then we moved to prototypes, starting from the Chevron B16, the 2 liters prototype category. We have two models, the official Chevron Racing Team and the Levis International Racing Team. The detail is about the engine basically, because this one has a BMW 2 liters engine, 4-cylinder. You can maybe see it a bit reproduced also here, even if the graphic of this engine says Ford, but was just a compromise between different graphics for each car. The other one, despite still bringing the 4-cylinder Ford inside the hood, originally had a Mazda Wankel 3 rotors, if I'm not wrong. So with the same chassis, I was curious to see which of the two could have been the quickest. Still prototypes, but 2.5 liters. We go in Germany with the Porsche 907 long tail, that, if I'm not wrong in German, is something like Langheck, something like this. Sorry for my poor German. Year is 1968. The car is absolutely a beautiful tentative to take advantage of fluidodynamic, despite maybe back in the 60s and the 70s the work in a wind tunnel was not the one computer controlled like we see today. Back then there was the good habit to place a lot of paper stripes on the body chassis and see where the air was moving, the waves, let's say, once they were touching the body. Such a primitive, maybe tentative, but worked out very well, especially with this model that had multiple wins in his class for Porsche, for the 2 liters, 2.5 liters, 3 liters, until Porsche from 1970 decided to approach the sport prototype category with a bigger engine for the first time in their lives. We come in Italy, in Milan, close where I live, with Alfa Romeo with the model T33-3. Auto Delta SPA is the original Alfa Romeo team back in the 70s, and not only. We have 2 cars, the 35 and the 36. You will recognize them by the front different color of the nose, but to me it was important to have 2 Alfa Romeos V8 on the starting grid. Still prototypes, 3 liters, Ferrari 312P of the North American Racing Team, the sub-official Ferrari team for America. The model is a pure prototype with a 12-cylinder engine at the back and longitudinal gearbox like it was before the arrival of the transversal gearbox in the mid-70s. Anyway, absolutely a monster. We go in UK with my favorite Healey Repco XR37 of the Donald Healey Motor Company, a car that basically took the 3 liters Repco engine similar to the one we have seen in Formula 1 in the 60s, and that has been anyway successful in some other versions. If I'm not wrong, Repco comes from Australia as a forklift builder originally, or something similar from an industrial point of view. It is the model, she is the model also I have used for the Road to Le Mans almost 1 year ago, when I wanted to try this beautiful mod called Le Mans 1970 mod, Le Mans Classic, for GTR, R-Factor and so on. It is not a competitive car, but to me she's very nice, and I wanted to have this car also today. Still 3 liters, the Matra Simca of the official Equipe Matra. Year is 1970. The power output was provided by a 12-cylinder naturally aspirated V12 Matra engine, the similar one you have seen conquer the World Championship for drivers with Jackie Stewart in 1969, powering the Tyrrell Racing Team. We will have 2 models, one driven by Jack Brabham, 3 times world champion, and the late François Severt. Ciao François. The other model, the number 34, will feature Henri Pescarolo, the great 4 times winner of Le Mans and not only, and Jean-Pierre Beltois. Again with Porsche, with the Martini International Racing, year 1970, a 3 liters prototype powered by a V8. At the wheel, I do remember, here we are, Gerhard Larousse, the founder of the Formula 1 racing team at the end of the 80s, beginning of 90s, and Helmut Marko, nowadays director of Red Bull Formula 1 activities. She will be one of the most competitive cars available today. Still Porsche, we go back to 1968 with a 3 liters short prototype, very similar to the one we have seen before with the long tail. I wanted to have again a comparison between similar Porsche's model within mid or little prototypes category. So the comparison direct will be not only with the 90802, it is a similar chassis with a different bodywork, but especially with the 907 LH year 68, same year, this model. I'm curious. Ferrari, just two cars, one official of the Ferrari SPA CEFAC and one of the North American racing team. We start from this one with a 5 liters V12 engine at the back, seen at Le Mans. The official one will be with Jackie Hicks and Peter Shetty at the wheel. We close with Porsche, with John Wyer Automotive car number 1. The model is the 917K, the famous all-winning, all-conquering big prototype from Porsche, with a V12 boxer naturally aspirated. I do not remember the drivers because they changed a lot, but the other one is not an official one, but it is the version of David Piper. I forgot to mention the Lola T70, the Mark III C model, year 1970, of the Moteurs Morand. This is the beast very similar then to the McLaren's prototypes of the 70s, powered by a powerful 5 liters V8 naturally aspirated engine. The output is 477 horsepower for a weight of 2000 pounds, that is around 1000 kilograms, more or less, maybe a bit less, 900 kilograms. This is the last version, if you like, with the C model today. As a challenge also for myself, we will drive the T70 Mark III but bit version. Same year, same team, Moteurs Morand. Despite having almost similar details and characteristics, we will have 10 horsepower less on the same weight. So I wanted to challenge myself over not only the overall win at the end, but especially fighting with a similar model but more updated, to see also where I am, and obviously she is the same model seen in the cover of this game. So that's it, and this model will bring us on track with a single tentative of qualification, and then we will race for 1 hour time. As you may have counted, I have selected 26 slots, because despite Riverside in the GDB files has 28 slots at the start, the 27th and 28th placed cars tend to fall into a sort of unknown area of the track, and it's impossible to properly do a regular and working grid. So unluckily I had to choose for a compromise. Instead I would have chosen one prototype more and one GT more, but that's it. I mean, 26 cars for 1 hour race will be more than enough. So let's go on track, and I hope the selection will please you as much as possible. I do find very exciting have the possibility, despite just virtually, to drive such beautiful cars, handmade back then in the 60s and the 70s, and absolutely guest stars for the first golden era of endurance races. Next chapter, qualification. Here we are on track for qualifying one that we will leave with time accelerated. As said, I will try, or maybe not said, I don't remember. I will try one single shot to qualify the car, then what will be no problem. From a car setup point of view, I can show you the page number 1 while I go down with, I would say, maybe 15 liters to just exit the pit, warm up tires, and then let's say 20 liters for the tentative. This is page 1. This is page 2, where, as very often I do from a personal taste point of view, the car is not horizontal compared to the ground. It is pointed down with the front end and very high with the rear. When I mean very high and very pointed, I am not let's say, on an extreme car setup with the top stiffness at the front end and the lowest softness at the rear end. It is just the maximum values at the front, just a 10% less, and at the rear, same thing. Instead of the minimum available, just 10%, 15% more, with a lot of parameters, but just play around with it. Generally speaking, the main sense is stiff and low at the front, high and soft at the rear. I think is the best combination. Another thing that I take advantage of is the steering lock as much as possible open to counterbalance with the steering wheel and the throttle the availability of car control thanks to these commands. Okay, first day of qualifying gone, a lot of cars not running, luckily. 26 slots that did some troubles here and there. Anyway, so 5 laps of coverage, soft tires at the front, soft tires at the rear. For the race I will use hard compound at the front because the front end tends to overheat, especially in the last corner, but you will see it while on track. So let's go with the timing reference for the Lola T70 Mark III C version, so the more updated one compared to our current Lola 116.8. So welcome on board on the Lola T70 and welcome on Riverside. Turn 1 after the start finish line, then turn 2, 3, almost flat out, 4, we will let the Ferrari go, okay, 5, 6, 7, then a sort of chicane, first gear, Ferrari smoking, almost a hairpin, let through the BMW powered Chevron V16, it is smoking, she is smoking. I mean, the track is presented as dry, but cars are smoking like if it was wet. Anyway, let's concentrate on the first lap. Launched, so as said, first corner after the start finish line, fourth gear almost flat out, almost down to third gear, then flat out, turn 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, third gear, this little chicane, a bit wide, a real turn 7, turn 8, back straight, the dog leg that opened up the ratio of the last corner. Now I will concentrate on the only shot for qualifying the car. Look at the front left tire. Oops. Almost lost the car. Not a good idea to keep this slow chevron prototype 2 liter. In front. Okay, let's keep a bit of space. Okay, on the top right corner you see my 124 did just as a final touch for the car setup given current conditions of the surface. We will leave a bit of breath with the Chevron B16 2 liters BMW powered. First lap will be a warm-up tire attitude. So back straight, dog leg on left to open up the ratio of the last corner. Third gear, trying to make the car slip a bit while cornering, then the corner closes a bit its ratio. Turn 1, left corner after the main straight, very short. Turn 2, third gear, the start of the S's. Turn 3, 4, 5, lift, third gear, the sixth corner, sort of chicane, full throttle, heavy brake, first gear, the hairpin, now downhill, turn 8, full speed, fifth gear, back straight, dog leg on the left. When there is the tree you brake, down to third gear, leave the car slip a bit, or be slippery, whatever, understeer, control with the throttle, again full throttle, 120, not a great lap time, P14, and I think it's my maximum. Sometimes in free practice I did a 119, nothing special. So we can go to the pit with the single lap time scored. Now I'm not sure I have counted correctly all the corners because some of them are maybe matched. I was just counting every turn of the wheel I had. But this is Riverside, very heavy on the steering wheel, especially if you set it to the maximum before reaching a potential clip with the functions. So that's it, a very bad qualification. The other Lola was running 16.8, so I have almost 4 seconds at 100% strength for contenders, but I see now that the track is under 43 degrees Celsius, is damp, so that was the smoke, was the reason for the smoke, was not. So with a damp track, despite 44 degrees and 35 in the ambient, I don't know if in the last part of the qualification it will be dry, conditions are with the sun, but there was nothing more I could do. So I got 4 seconds from the Lola of Moran Pillon that ran the day before with the qualification 1 on dry surface, but that's it. Should have chosen to participate also in qualification 1. 5 minutes to go. Currently the Porsche 918K, wow, top 3 positions, prototypes 3 liters, then the first 5 liters is the 917 Adamovich Piper, David Piper, Porsche 917, 5th Courage de Adamich Alfa Romeo T33, Ferrari, the Lola, the Matra of Beltoise Pescarolo and Gerard Larousse with the 3 liters Porsche 90202. Okay, at least we are close to the prototypes, but the difference between qualifying one on dry surface and now dry, damned, and qualifying two with the damp surface gives this kind of situation, and I see some prototypes and GT cars not running. Okay, so let's continue to race on a dry surface, but with the rain. Let's see. That's quite challenging. So I think we can load our setup scene, go up to the maximum coverage for at least 30 minutes, because the race will be around 60 minutes. Maybe use soft and soft, and when the rain will arrive, maybe we will switch to wet tires. And the first time for around the world in 24 hours that finally we see rain. Let's see if my choice is the correct one or not. So wish me luck, and let's see on track. So here we are, P24, pace lap. Wish me luck and see you for the green flag. Okay, ready to go. Safety car should be out in a couple of seconds. Let's follow the car. Yes, she's going out. Let's be ready, green flag. I said wet surface. We are basically last. Let's try to avoid, as I said, this will be aero repairs to be done. There is a GT car in front for sure. It is lowering down the group given the mixed around field. Yes, there was also the Chevron Mazda powered blocking the rest of the group. Okay, first lap almost alive. The Porsche of Redman Siffert spinning. The track is very slippery despite not having the possibility to choose between slick and wet tires. You just change soft, and this is my mistake. And luckily they did a spin also at the front. Who is? Ooh, the Jackie Oliver. Very lucky indeed. And without breaking anything of the car, hopefully. So P12 really gifted, but we will have maybe 20 to 30 seconds from the leaders. Currently Mike Parks with the Ferrari P312. Yes, Galli Stombelen with Alfa Romeo are much quicker, much lighter and almost similarly powered. So we go down to P13. Ooh, losing the car. Can't believe how not fit enough I am to play with modern steering wheels and pedals, given the force needed to play with them. I will make a review in a couple of days after ending couple of days or if not weeks of usage to be as much as possible more precise and credible after playing with some games. Now the front, Enever edges with the Austin Healey, sorry, the Healey Repco, I apologize. The Matra passes much quicker. Outside they touch. There is the Porsche 911 of Peter Gregg. I had the privilege to meet the son Steve Gregg at Daytona at the end of January. An incredible, charming person, very kind, very available to talk with an Italian. Boring enthusiast like I am. And I apologize again with Steve Gregg for not knowing that he was driving the same Porsche 911 refurbished, let's say rebuilt almost from scratch for what I've understood, after his father died with the same car 50 years ago. But it's a story we'll tell you for the episode number 3 at Sebring. My fake 12 hours reduced to 2 hours. Okay, Masha Stommelen and Chassel with the Tommaso are passable, despite being in front of us. We should not have problems. Power output of our Lola, close to 500 best horsepower. No. I've insisted too much, sorry. what you can do on dry surface is not what you can do on wet surface. Lost an amount of time I hope to recover. Bad attitude of a Formula driver more than an endurance driver. How can they take the entrance of the last corner so quick? I don't know. Courage and Andrea De Adamic passed me like if I was stuck, like if I was a mobile chicane. Ooh, 10 minutes and my hands are starting to be a bit painful. Yes, right decision, stay in the internal line. So 2 positions gained before the end of lap 8. I'm not taking all the revs from the V8 engine mounted on this car. We have already 87% of reliability available here in the right corner. Bottom right corner. On the left side of the current gear there is a percentage as always. I mean, it's possible to enter much quicker than what I do. Ooh, a crash here. But you overheat immediately the front left tire and then you forward the second part of the corner with that was a touch. It's not the day today, yeah? There's definitely something wrong here. Let's see if the car is broken in some way. No. So I'm just a lemon today and that's it. I was saying this last corner can be taken much quicker than I do, but as you can see the front left corner, sorry, the front left tire while you corner goes up in temperatures and then you lose grip. So that's the reason why I try to be very smooth, because then you keep into every right corner here with the sequence. tire that is not giving you grip enough. There's a crash in front, a BMW of X Bell, sorry, retiring. This is Redman Siffert Porsche 917, so we go up to P13. Apart from this meeting with the sand. So in front of us now Masha Stombelen with the Ford. Touched again, but we resist. So maybe we are reapproaching P12 like before, with Masha Stombelen with the Ford Capri RS 3100. They repass us very easily, much quicker. Just a temporary slowdown. Moment, maybe. We pass internally before the hairpin, we take the line. Now we have an overlapped Chevron Mazda powered, Levis sponsored, and in front of us Master Stombelen with the Ford Capri. That before won the first battle with us when we were side by side. Seen a car out of the track, sorry. It was a Ford Capri 2600 maybe. Okay, what to think about the pit stop that will happen in a couple of laps, because we are close to the 30 minutes race, so half of the race gone. No, they are quicker in this corner. And I will move to hard compound at the front. Reason is I do prefer a better lasting tire on that side of the car. Maybe will overheat a bit less. And maybe we'll last until the end if we will be in the need to push more. We are 69 seconds from Mike Parks. Sorry for forgetting to comment a bit the rest of the race, but I'm really overwhelmed by the difficult effort required to move the steering wheel. I mean, with the previous episode and the first episode of We Are the Champions using F1 Challenge VB, it was hard to fight with the steering wheel, but with Power and Glory, my goodness. Once you move from forces inducted by the game, like the centering of the steering wheel, and you let the steering wheel to operate itself and regulate itself, it is absolutely a drama. And this was a pass, guys. Once in my lifetime I did something special. And maybe we can take advantage also of Stommelen taking the internal line. No, the tire will not sustain the effort. Very understeering, and in one lap or two we will have to pit. Here again in the sequence of corners, this time we are a bit quicker. And the red car you see in the mirror is Mike Parks, the current leader. So if I succeed on staying in the lead lap, it will be much better before the pit. Because I think in 2 laps we will have to change the front left tire and the rest of tires. I'm sorry, and the car here on the left abandoned off the track is the Brumos Porsche 911 of Peter Gregg. Unluckily, I'm thinking to drive this beautiful lady in Sebring, just also to tribute the Brumos team and especially Peter Gregg. A bit of time, effort and thinking, because it's one of the most successful racing team ever existed in US. Okay, Mike Parks passed, but maybe touched the wall, yes, a bit. How quick are prototype 3 liters here? Much more agile than 5 liters sports car. And the second red car behind is Redman Siffert. Number 11, Redman Siffert. North American racing team, official, sub-official Ferrari team for US in the 60s and the 70s, and not only. They are second, so we leave them pass. Sorry, I was thinking they were our P12 contenders. Even if they are not so big, come on guys. Sorry, Redman Siffert are this one. No, sorry. I'm cooked. Elford Siffert, sorry. Third placed, so the top three are divided by few seconds. So let's try to not make them lose time thanks to myself. But I have to... Ooh, touched with the Mustang. I still have to understand when to stop. I would say the next lap, less than 30 minutes now. Lap times are not a disaster, but yes, we can book the pit, because I also see the front left tire is going away definitely. So if in 30 minutes we did 22 laps more or less, we will need another 22, so it will be a 70 liters more or less load. I don't see the booking of the pit stop. They are not ready. No way. Maybe I did a mistake. Okay, anyway. Let's go to get rid, yes, of the steering wheel. So we need at least, I would say, 20 laps. Hard, soft, yes, yes, yes. Let's go. I think we will lose quite a bit for my mistake of booking and unbooking the pit stop. Maybe we will go down to P17. Yes, P17. Let's see. Second, first gear. Sorry, but sometimes when you restart from the pit, luckily the first gear does not go inside correctly, so P16, but here we have X Oliver passing. Here we are. Obviously I've used the 6 times factor converter. This was the Lola of my teammate, avoided for a pure casualty. X Oliver passed. And I was saying, not only we have the 2 times factor for tire wearing and fuel wearing, while I see a lot of grey cars in front of us, all retirements. Good. I mean, sorry for them, but lucky for us, some positions gained easily. And so apart from the time-consuming doubled for tires and fuel, I've also loaded the 6 times time factor. What's going on here? So the race has started at 1300 daytime. And will finish by 1900 here in California during a beginning of March day. On a rainy day in California. Top right corner, grey name for Belpois and Pescarolo, with the Matrasinka retiring. And 3 seconds far from Hesemann Kester with the BMW. The sister of X Bell, do not remember. If Mike Parks will not have a pit stop very soon, we will be 2 laps down thanks to my bad driving while approaching the evening and the night. Yes, they are. The BMW 12 valves, 2 valves per cylinder with the common 6 cylinders straight of the Bavarian manufacturer. How beauty they were. German cars up to the 80s then started to really do a marketing product. Now Jack Brabham with the other Matrasinka. What a control. Let's see. Top 10 now, 1 point. the lola currently. Nothing, the red front left tire will appear anyway. So it's absolutely a corner that will ask the maximum stress on tires, regardless of the compound. I'm sorry for the time lost with my mistakes. I do remember 2 of them today. And nowadays you can see this Lola Mark III B and C versions around the world, not only in 24 hours like I'm doing, but also in historic cups and historic events. Is also built as a sort of official replica by the FIA, by an English garage if I'm not wrong. So a long history of successes, despite never being super winning car overall compared to Porsches and Ferraris. Now this Porsche driven by Seifert is a leader. While believe it or not we are catching the red car in front, it is the Ferrari 512 long tail of Jackie Hicks and Peter Schetti, for P9, and 13 seconds far there is also 14 now Jack Brabham with François Sauveur with the Matra, and someone else I'm lost, sorry. And never edges. Could be a P7 hopefully. If in 15 minutes I can reduce the gap. Because if they are not planning a pit stop, they may struggle in a couple of laps with tires and fuel consumption. Anyway, how beautiful is the sequence of corners, left, right, of this track. It does remind me of Road Atlanta, Virginia Raceway. Okay, parks at the pit. Harriet Weekends at the pit. It's not P9, yes, now. Okay, I do not have the top speed to battle with Ferrari, but I will try to be quick while cornering, where maybe we have an advantage, even if tiny, And in front of us there is also the Healy Repco of Never Edges, so possibly 2 positions in front of us to be gained, taking advantage also of a overlapped car. Oh my god, what a pass. P7, 9 seconds from Brabham, difficult to catch him unless he slows down in the next 13 minutes. Hard compound at the front, I would say, works much better, at least goes back to a normal temperature quicker than the soft compound I have used at the beginning, fearing that the hard compound was too hard, too heavy with rain on the asphalt. Mike Parks retired in grey in front of us, so in 2 laps will be a possible position gained if I do not crash and kill the De Tomaso. We don't have damages, good. What a pity for Mike, he led the race basically forever. While X and Schetti recovered from the struggle before, and I feel the sound of the rain again, of drops. We are passed by X Schetti again, while the car you see white in front of us is the Porsche of Gerard Larousse. We resist to no, we resist nothing. Okay, no damages, strangely enough, despite the shunt. So now I have to rebuild the catch to X and Schetti. 9 minutes to go. No again. This time the damage is done, I'm sure. Yes, at least aero. Okay, I did learn to make the first corner after 38 laps. Six minutes to go and 30 seconds now. The only hope is to pass X and Peter Schetti, or will never catch Jack Brabham. For a P6 more than overpriced for the level of driving I did show today, without alibis because I've made silly mistakes. Like this one, that maybe will create a P8. Bravo Marco. Overconfident, obviously I'm not helped by driving every time different cars, but this is the challenge for myself. Learn to be more and more a decent endurance racer, sorry. Especially when tires go away with grip. My 1 minute 18.7 best lap in the race is not any way comparable to the other Lola. I had anyway 2 seconds of gap, and even if it was comparable with a qualifying time for them compared to my race time. While Gerard Larousse retired, so we go up to P7, luckily, maybe deserving the position just because I'm lasting. Or I endured. That is fair enough for this type of races. And there's a problem. I have just 2 laps in the tank. It is 2 minutes 40 seconds. But with 3 minutes to go, I've lost the possibility to... What an idiot. I did the same mistake did at Sebring in the last season of Around the World in 24 hours, when I've driven the Corvette GTP. Not executing a correct pit stop. So now I will have to crawl more or less to the end. What an idiot. Could have been one lap more of coverage, would have been logical. What an idiot. So we'll use low revs and high gears, at least to confirm the position. How to complicate simple things, Marco. I have to pit, I cannot avoid, because and foresee that will do another lap. So let's try to go pit in the pit without loading. Yes, 8 liters would be enough. There is a car in the middle. Come on. I cannot believe it. So they will not make my pit. Oh. I cannot believe it. So the race is over now. P8 because I never edges. I cannot believe it. What a rookie. What a rookie. The Healy Repco did pass me. I could have crawled until the end instead of stopping, but who knew that the Ford Capri was retiring in the same pit spot. No. What's going on? Okay, any possibility to get whenever edges are gone. I must just crawl to the end because I'm in the same lap of Baker Martland at our back. What an idiot! What an idiot! Could have been a P7 just crawling to the end. After one season I did not. Ah, there is also the splitter broken. For what? Okay. Oh guys, what a mess. What a mess I did. Today I'm completely out of any reasonable meaning. I don't know if it was clear, but basically... Okay, no fuel. So the car has finished now. Yes, the fuel, so I can escape. Well, we can save. But it's Marco at its best, or Marco at its beast, for the simple reason that I was P7 with 30 seconds of advantage over the Qualy Repco XR37, and I needed just to crawl to the end, but in some way my mind played a trick, saying you can do a splash and go, but while arriving in the pit, I discovered that the pit was occupied by the Ford Capri something RS, this one of Mash Stombelen, so the pit stop was not anymore possible like when we raced with the Ford Probe at Watkins Glen, and because I had one lap of advantage over the Chevron B16, I could have been anyway P8, even resisting and finishing before the Qualy Repco and anyway the Chevron B16. So I've lost 1 point for silly reason, because 1, 2, 4, 5, yes, no sorry, 2015, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. I made the Lola lose 1 point for my silliness. Why? Because I was completely controlled by the anxiety of finishing without fuel. That was in a way a mistake generated by myself in the only pit stop today needed, underloading the car, thinking to last to the end. That was anyway correct, but I put myself into the silly condition, risk something that was not supposed to be risked. Idiot. Marco is an idiot. Anyway, with a lot of surprise, we celebrate a 3 liters prototype winning today ahead of a 5 liters prototype, respectively the Porsche 908K against the North American racing team Ferrari semi-official 512 long tail, Gallish Tombelen third position with the Alfa Romeo T33, another 3 liter prototype, Jack Brabham with the Matra Simca prototype 3 liter, X Peter Schetti fifth with the Ferrari that we led for a brief moment of the race, the Porsche 907 Long Hack Harrier Wiki, the Qualy Repco and Ever Edges as, and then the Chevron B16 is the BMW Line 4 engine, and Redman Siffert just 10th, the Porsche 917K. So will be quite a refreshed classification for constructors, considering that Porsche does 3 times points, Ferrari 2 times, Alfa Romeo 1, Qualy, Lola and Chevron 1. Best lap time for Gallish Tombelen with the Alfa Romeo, still a 3 liter prototype, then the Porsche 908K and the Ferrari of Bucknam Posey. We were 8th overall with 118.7, so at least I was quick, like the Lola, well, within the same second of the Lola of Moran Pillon, that I think was anyway quicker, so with a bit of advantage would have been ahead of us. So sorry, I apologize, because it was a bad level of driving today, again, and despite having a car that I would say was in some way capable to finish in the top 10 easily, despite the rearranged starting grid, I must say with 100% of difficulty I have to train myself much more, especially with the new equipment of steering wheels and pedals that are bringing me to maybe drive more feeling forces and feedbacks from the game, but it's a learning curve. You have to cope with the new sensation you feel in your hands and in your feet. And so I would say that's it. We'll follow the updated classification for this race, but really I did struggle a lot to not maybe to be consistent, because more or less when I find my pace then I more or less drive decently with constant lap times, but still I do not take everything from the car. Whatever the car I drive, maybe I spend not enough time driving and fine-tuning the car setup, so to me it's always an average compromise of car setup and an average compromise of driving, making kilometers, and then when I arrive to race a full race, I more or less arrive to a decent 90% overall control of the car, with, anyway, as you have seen, many mistakes when tires go down, because I do not have the experience with that car with tires going away. But anyway, I hope it has been a decent episode to entertain you without presumption a bit more than usual, because the car was a beast. This time I was thinking I'm driving a 5 liters prototype, so I will basically pass everybody except Porsches and Ferraris. Sad reality, on a very mid-slow racetrack, the 3 liters prototypes lighter and almost powerful like the 5 liters prototype sports had an advantage and has been seen very well today. So this will be also a factor to consider for more driven races for the rest of the season. So with the last but one episode in US, we moved from Daytona for the 24 hours, 4 hours real. From Florida we did fly up to California for the Riverside episode, this one. We will fly back to Florida for the 12 hours, 2 hours real race of Sebring in a couple of days. It will fall more or less close to the real 12 hours of Sebring on Sunday 18th of March, 19th of March, and on Saturday 18th of March 2023 there will be the WEC with the 1000 miles of Sebring. I will be there, so see you there for a beer. Before that I will publish also the Daytona experience had at the end of January, so now my memory and my pictures and my videos and my photos blah 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 will be finalized for a proper brief recap of the experience. And I would say it will be the last race in the first quarter for USA, then we will move with this championship back in Europe. Well, we will start the season in Europe, so we will go in Europe. And it will be a massive episode, because for what I've seen, Sebring of Virtual Le Mans in different editions accepts up to 60 drivers, so will be massive. 3 or 4 Porsches, 3 or 4 Ferraris, a lot of GT cars. And maybe we will not drive anymore the Lola, if not in the C version, but I don't think there are many cars to be discovered together. And so that's it. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, at least an arrival in points after the win of Daytona at the end of January with the Ford GT40, with 100% difficulties, strength of contenders, have been maybe more reliable, more reliable, more consistent, and more competitive with the Ford GT40 than with the prototype. So maybe in Daytona there was also the reliability factor that here hasn't been applied for 4 hours out of 24 simulated. Here with 1 hour simulating 6 hours for real, sorry, vice versa, 1 hour for real simulating 6 hours, and with the rain maybe values on track were a bit mismatched, mixed and combined. So I'm happy to finish within the points, happy to bring you some maybe scary moments with my usual low level of driving. 2 passes, not bad I think, in the series of corners, but overall I'm not satisfied by myself. I could have been a bit higher, at least P5, without mistakes and without the silly decision to load just the minimum amount of fuel. A mistake I did exactly 1 year ago while doing the first season of our Around the World in 24 Hours, as said, driving the Corvette GTP. Back then I was not even in the points, so mistake on mistake on mistake on mistake on mistake on mistake. That's it, guys, boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you did like this one. See you very soon with the Sports Car 100, second episode, at Laguna Seca, beautiful, driving a Dodge Viper 94 edition, the first Dodge Viper ever prepared for a long distance race. And thank you very much again for watching. stay very well. As I often now write at the end of the videos, stay strong, stay brave, stay racing. Hopefully the COVID is beginning to be, let's hope, something just to forget after 3 years of pandemic scenario. So best lucky, best wishes, best everything to you all and your beloved. Stay very well. See you very soon on iKeysRacing channel. Marco from Monza. Say ciao, bye bye, see you later, bye bye, see you soon, the next time. Bye 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 bye. Ciao. Grazie. Thank you. Merci. Gracias. Muchas gracias. Ciao.